In this video, I'm going to show you a weapon I'm 100% sure you forgot about till you saw the Duviri leaks. What's good, folks? It's Warframe here with a new Warframe video, coming at you with an Incarnon AoE weapon that would probably end up being so busted on Duviri, and the one I would recommend to have ready for when Duviri launches. And what is this weapon in question? Well, it's the Cool Star, of course. Some of you might be lost, and a few of you would have definitely deleted this weapon thinking it's mastery fodder. I don't blame you, but yeah, this weapon is doing this damage. Not alone, but it is using Garuda for additional synergy. This weapon is essentially a miniature version of the Kuvazar. It shoots out bomblets that fragment into tinier bomblets on impact and deal damage to everything within its AoE. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It also has an alternate fire that allows you to prematurely detonate the bomblets. Also, this weapon has insane recoil when not aiming down sights. So if you have no idea what an Incarnon adapter is, you've been away from the game, a new player, or just living under a rock, because it's been the talk of the town for a hot minute, and even showcased on DevStream 168.
Yeah, basically when we originally set up the Incarnon system, we were thinking, even from back then, we were thinking, well, we want to test this with a few weapons, but ideally we can expand this. This will come as a shocker to you, because we totally didn't leak these back in December.
Nope.
But we have what we're calling Incarnon adapters. A bunch of different weapons that we've selected and we tweaked and we added stuff to. And we're basically added kind of alternative modes to all of those weapons. There's 30 of them that we're going to release with. I don't know which ones we're showing today.
As you heard from Pablo, 30 different weapons, and one of them is the Cool Star. But of course, this weapon isn't perfect. There are some downsides, and one of them is just being a secondary weapon, and that means it doesn't have hunter munitions, and hemorrhage doesn't work well with it because only the initial hit procs impact, and it's not forced impact, and it has horrible reload speed. So that's why I'm pairing it with Garuda, as she fixes two of those problems. A little disclaimer, this build is a bit min-maxy, so it requires you to build a certain way because I'm replacing two mods. So yeah, this build does require Archon shards to function properly. So if you haven't been farming those call missions and Archon hunts, well, that's on you. And also, I'll be using a specific focus school. Alright, what makes this work so well with Garuda? Let's tackle the first issue, reload speed. Bloodletting, Garuda's third ability, this is the ability that is giving her infinite energy, if she's able to top up her HP. When you cast this ability, she sacrifices a portion of her health to convert into energy. Efficiency also affects the energy gain, so higher efficiency increases the amount gained. But guess what? I'm running negative efficiency, but still remain topped up with all the energy I need because of the insane amounts of healing that I have. But what does this have to do with reloading? Well, this ability has an augment called Blood Forge. With a single cast, it reloads the entire mag of the currently equipped weapon. And you know what makes this reload speed even faster? Casting speed. This ability also ties into our Helminth of choice, and that is Gloom, an ability totally made for Garuda. That's right. Gloom is an aura that slows down enemies within it while draining your energy per second. Dealing damage to enemies within the aura heals you. This is any type of damage, even the smallest amounts of DOT. The slow and heals scale of power strength. This makes Garuda more mobile, unlike her Blood Altar that locks you into one place. With my loadout, I get 95% slow, and Gloom expands to 40 meters, which is quite substantial and girthy. So now that we've fixed the reload issue, it's time to focus on how do we bleed enemies. Well, that's to do with her fourth ability, Seeking Talons. Originally, it has a long animation and it animation locks you. And animation locking is bad in a fast-paced environment, and it's also not 360 degrees. That's why I'm also using the augment for this ability, Blending Talons. This turns this ability into an instant cast and makes it AoE. It also makes you gain faster combo, but this isn't a melee build. The downside to this augment is that it has a small coverage, so we need a decent amount of range to make this thing worthwhile. Also, casting this ability on enemies will deal slash damage and then apply a debuff on them, shown by the marker on their heads. This debuff makes attacks from all sources to apply the bleed status effect. Basically, a hunter munitions with a 100% chance of proccing, even on non-crits. Oh yes, that deadly, right? And another cool tip is that enemies affected by gloom have their animations slowed, so casting talons onto them stuns them, and they have to act out that entire animation while being slowed. And not only that, when casting talons, you get iframes, so that's additional survivability. Now, there are some few caveats to using this ability. One of them, being too high off the ground can result in a bad animation lock when landing, and we don't want that. So here are some tips to use. You can slide and cast 4, or if you happen to jump, just aim glide after casting, and that's it. Alright, let's take a look at how we put this build together. The Archon shards are a must, but do they need to be talent forged? Absolutely not, so don't worry. I'm replacing flow and natural talent here. Onto the actual build. Arcane Avenger grants me a flat 45% crit chance on all of my weapons when I take damage. That will make more sense with the aura. And also Molt Augmented to give me 60% strength at max stacks. And the aura in question is Combat Discipline. This damages my health when I kill enemies and helps trigger Arcane Avenger, but I'm easily getting healed thanks to Gloom. And no, Bloodletting does not trigger Arcane Avenger. Prime Surefooted for the knockdown and stagger resistance. Now range at 250% with stretch, a rank 4 overextended, and augur reach. Notice we lost 50% of our power, and we don't want to go any lower, hence the rank 4 overextended. And augur reach helps us regenerate our shields to refresh our shield gates. And to counteract the lost in power, I slot in Umbral Intensify and Blind Rage. Rolling Guard for the additional defenses and status cleansing. And lastly, Blood Forge for the instant reload on equipped weapons, and Blending Talons for the AoE Seeking Talons activation. Onto the Focus School, I'll be using Materai for power transfer and sling strength, giving me additional casting speed and 40% strength for 20 seconds. Reminder, once you maxed out your stacks on Molt Augmented, perform 2 Void Slings, deactivate your Gloom, and reactivate it for the maximum slow and bonus lifesteal. And now onto our DPS weapon, the Coal Star. It's pretty much a simple generic build with crits, viral for the elemental damage, prime fulmination to increase the blast radius, and for the base damage I do have primary merciless, since we won't be headshotting or anything of the sort. And of course my faction mod so I can double dip on those bleeds. You can change this based on what you're fighting, and the elemental mods are interchangeable. For the other weapons, let them be up to you. I'm just using a utility primary and melee. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the Incarnon AoE weapon, Coal Star with Garuda. Hopefully you've learned something and are going to prepare for this bad boy. So yeah, start getting this weapon ready now. Anyway, that has been it from me. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.